track, went to remonstrate with the young man. He turned around and said, well, I'm saving the front tyre for the race. I haven't been able to identify who that young man is because they won't tell me. Red lights are on then, wait for the opening race in of the R6 Cup, and wheelies all over the place, and things are up in the air. We can only take it, they must be the newcomers, they haven't practiced starting these R6s yet. So into turn one, that's Cops. This is round one. They will be going to, 12 races this year. I think they've got 12 rounds of this. They don't go to Mondello Park in Ireland for, I can't remember what race it is, what one of the series it is, but off the front already, that was a great start. He managed to stretch out immediately as they go up towards Beckett's. I'll let you pick up some of the runners as well. We've been frantically standing at trackside this morning trying to recognise everybody, haven't we?
Well, thankfully the track is dry. It was a lightning start compared to the superbikes. You see that most of the track's dry. Certainly online, there's a good width online that's dry as they head down to Abbey Corner to the hairpin. And we're looking there at number 3.
37 it is, mate. That's James Hillier. He qualified in second place. I'm glad you're in the same position as me. James Hillier is out in front.
Russell Hodgson.
Russell Hodgson. Well, Alan Haywood Racing, of course, Russell Hodgson's Yamaha is sponsored by. And, last year he had an up and down year, didn't he, Russell Hodgson? He looked like he had a lot of potential, but it didn't quite come to fruition for young Russ. So, again, the man who does the PR for Monster Mob also does Russell's PR. He's a well-organised young fella because Larry Carter keeps sending me all sorts of bits and pieces on Russell. So, hopefully, today's press release will have something good to say about it.
And Tulsa to there, Cal Bryce, he's in fourth
place,
there.
yep. Now, at least we can recognise him. Looks a bit Phil Reedy, doesn't he, in all them black.
Ian Lowry in third.
Ian Lowry on the Image Tech Services R6 Cup. Of course, these boys all allowed a sponsor for their motorcycles. Now, £20,000 is the fee that each one of these riders has paid to be in this series. But at the end of the series, not only do they have a chance of winning a brand new superbike ride, that's an official factory superbike ride with Rob McElnay's Virgin Mobile Superbike team, but they also get the V55, that is the road registration form for this motorcycle that they're riding now. So they get the bike as well, included in the 20 grand. There's no other prices to pay. Oops, a little bit of a snag there for 20. Lee Fletcher, yeah, I'm need fastest finger first, I think, as far as this is concerned today. And what my point is, they get the bike included in that as a freebie at the end of the year.
Can't fault that, really. Bob Collins in third position, number 99. Watch him. He did a couple of rounds at the end of last season, but he is hot, he's hungry, he's aggressive. He's mainly raced at brands in 600 type club events, but he's a hot rider. He's sponsored by Monthly Magazine, and he is one of my tips certainly for race wins this year.
You've obviously been talking to the same people as I have, because I've got on my list here Bob Collins. He's been recommended to me as well. Obviously, a lot of these guys, we don't get a chance to go and see them at club meetings or MRO stuff or whatever they've been in. So it's quite difficult from our point of view. But we can rely on marshals particularly, who are wonderful. The marshals are just a great source of knowledge. And anybody that they think they just wave flags, well, you're completely wrong, because at the end of the day they keep commentating.
They know a lot more than you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So if you want to know anything, ask a marshal. That's the way we do.
Well, Bob Collins was flying at Donington in dodgy conditions. As you said, Rob Mack always has a good talking to. He gives him a good talking to because he doesn't want any damage, because that costs him money. So, but Bob Collins went out there at Donington, he was flying and didn't fall over, which was very impressive. But he is hot. He came to one of my track days at Donington Park last year, and I had a bit of a look at him, and he was certainly going quicker than I wanted to go, but looked great.
Right now, though, it's James Hillier from, he's back in there. Russell Hodgson's there, and so is that man that you're predicting will do the business. Bob Collins, of course, just a little bit off of the pace so far. The fastest lap, 1:41.121 I've got at the moment here. That is Hodgson. Now, we've had Gareth Glynn has been down at Woodcote, but he's okay. So yellow flags out on the run into Woodcote Corner, which is the chicane nowadays, of course. 3 laps, we are done of the 15. Hillier, second place on the grid. James Hillier, bike 37, under a lot of pressure now from 49 Russell Hodgson on the Alan Haywood Racing R6. In fact, that pressure is overdone. Can he pull it down into the apex of the corner? He certainly did. He made the pass, and he managed to block him on the exit as well. So Russell Hodgson, well, you've got to say, last year his luck was not running particularly well. Just seemed to be wrong-footed a little bit occasionally. Had the odd off here and there. Not particularly damaging as far as he was concerned, but certainly machine-wise. And his confidence looks good at this fresh one at the beginning of this year, that's for sure.
That was a nice pass at Abbey. He came from a long way back, but he made it stick. Like you said, he pulled it down, kept it tight, and got out of there and kept that gap. James Hillier. Now he's lost a little bit of time, but James Hillier was leading, and you know it's always nicer when you're second or third and following a leader. It's always nicer to follow than it is to lead. But Russell Hodgson there,
I was going to say, and also Hillier has got a little bit to do with Bob Collins at the moment. Bob Collins is looking pretty
dangerous.
menacing. That's a hell of a start. That's a bit James Whittam, that was.
He's got an aggressive, scary-looking style, and even when you're behind him, it's intimidating.
Yeah, I should think so, but that's where you want to be. Still in 4th place is the number 2 bike of Carl Bryce. He was the pole sitter, of course, but as I said right at the beginning of this, really qualifying times as far as R6 Cup are concerned don't really count. They seem to get quicker and quicker every lap they run on these bikes. Of course, they are amateurs between 16 and 22 years of age. That's the criteria age-wise into the championship. I should say also that the winner of this championship, not only does he get the Virgin Mobile Superbike ride, he also gets his 20 grand back that he paid up front to actually be in this series. So it's
plus that.
Yeah, plus.
I noticed that when Tommy Hill was getting his check back,
It was
17 odd grand, and I thought, I realised that was because the VAT was added on.
Another, you saw in 9th place there, Richard Wren, second in the MRO Supersport Series last year, I think it was. Number 24, Richard Wren. He was another one recommended to me by one of the marshals, the trackside marshals this morning. He said, you know anything about this, you should keep an eye on Richard Wren. So Richard Wren comes highly recommended as well.
You better be careful, these marshals. We'll have our jobs soon.
Yeah.
No more than we do.
Yeah, they only get paid a box of sandwiches for being here. That's the scary thing about it. A ride-through penalty for numbers 9 and 5, we are told. So a drive-through penalty, that's a brand new rule for any infringement now. 9 and 5, that's Patrick McDougall and Ben Castleton, will have to come through for the very first of our new drive-through penalties. You don't get a 10-second penalty anymore like was given to us before, and this counts for both the Supersports and the British Superbikes that we'll see later. You get a drive-through so that everybody in the stands knows exactly what's going on out on the racetrack. They can see it visually. Of course, not everybody in the grandstands alongside us here are lucky enough to have a laptop to tell them exactly what's going on. So the organisers have got smart regarding that, and well, how you finish on the racetrack is how you finish, and 10-second penalties have been thrown out in favour of a drive-through penalty. And in some tracks, that's better for them. But I think with an 85-kilometre speed restriction on pit lane and a long pit lane like Silverstone, that 10 seconds might turn into 20 by the time you've come in, decelerated and accelerated out at the end of pit lane.
It's not so handy. Although it is a bit fiddly, the last corner on to start-finish race, you actually gain a little bit of time at that section coming into the pit lane. My
point is, though, Cadwell Park, where it's about 50 yards long compared with the 200 yards here, you might make a...
Be worth jumping the start.
Smart as ever, Mackenzie looking for the advantage. Russell Hodgson on bike 49 still leads. We mustn't lose fact of that. And in second place is still 37, James Hillier, second on the grid and second place at the moment. There's Bob Collins, who's leapt up the order as well from his qualifying position of 8th on the grid, just hanging on to that second row start. He's on the www.woodenfloor.co.uk entry. And interesting to see how information technology has seeped through into the way that these teams are naming themselves nowadays as well. So you can obviously log on to that particular site and hopefully buy more than wooden floors. Perhaps you can have a look at something to do with Bob Collins as well.
One thing that is important in this championship is slipstream, especially at faster racetracks like we are here at Silverstone. But these guys are not quite close enough to pick up the slipstream from the rider in front of them.
Did I see a little shake of the head from Russell Hodgson at the front just there?
Yeah, he probably saw how many laps there are to go. He wants it to be the last lap.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other thing that shocked me as well, bearing in mind that these are standard road bikes, there's very, very little you can do. These are standard Yamaha R6 machines, 135 miles an hour through the speed trap here. That's an official time. That's not a made-up one by a commentator. That compares with 142 miles an hour for the actual super sports bikes that are very, very well tuned.
They're not slow, and of course these guys are on bog standard Dunlop tyres, so they don't have the grip the super sport guys have on the race tyres.
By bog standard he means standard road tyres, not that Dunlop don't have any grip. Otherwise we'll have Mr. Dunlop banging on this door. They are standard road tyres, which means they're all on standard, the same as you can buy for the street. They're not modified tyres that the factory turns out for the super sports boys.
Bob Collins is so energetic on that bike. He climbs all over, he's moving his body weight around. You see him get right off the bike mid-corner and jumping up when he needs to get a bit of traction. He really is an all-action.
But he's still just a little bit off of sniffing that second place at the moment. But, you've already pointed out, it's 15 laps and we're only on lap 6 at the minute. So Bob Collins here, good style, I like his style.
certainly has got black flag in the morning warm-up. I'm not quite sure why. It must have been a naughty boy doing something.
Well, I
wrong
did
in
tell
the
you,
morning warm-up.
I told you about Rob Mack, didn't I, with the guy that was caught wheeling, doing a stand-up wheelie, and Rob Mack was brought up to the organiser's office and told off on the chap's behalf, and so then Rob Mack went down to remonstrate with the perpetrator of that particular rule, and the guy said, I'm saving the tyre for the race, Rob.
Well, Bob Collins reckons he would have qualified better. He qualified in 8th, which is second row, which is good, but he reckons he should have put his new tyres on a bit earlier because he was on pretty worn tyres in practice, and he reckoned that was costing him time. But he's got good tyres on now, so not a bad idea to save them for the race.
Now then, we've talked about how much factory interest there is at trackside here at this opening British Superbike Championship round, both the Supersport and British Superbike. But I can tell you, even some of the guys in this R6 Cup are superbly well connected. We'll have to keep an eye out for number 19, Michael Niblett, of course, because he has connections in MotoGP, I can say somewhat sinisterly. So number 19, Michael Niblett, real smart young fella, and got a bit of backing from some high-up names in MotoGP. They will be revealed later, of course. I know they are watching at the moment, Mr. Trimby. So,
oh, Mr. Trimby.
Indeed.
He's got his hand in his pocket. His big pocket.
And he reached the bottom. Hodgson, Hillier, Collins, that was how they went across the line, but that's not going to be, I think, in a moment how they are going to go across the line, because there is a battle royal at the front of the opening Virgin Mobile Yamaha R6 Cup session. It's a mouthful to say. It's only because it's the second year I've managed to practice it. 49 leads, that's Russell Hodgson. Has he improved over last year or what?
Well, we saw Russell Hodgson shaking his head a couple of laps ago. Maybe there was a reason. Maybe he's got a problem, because we can see now.
He has. It's called James Hillier.
Yeah, James Hillier is on his tail.
And Bob Collins is there threatening the pair of them. This is actually a great opening race. There's not been a lot of passing that we've been able to see, but I can tell you out of the window here, there's a hell of a lot been going on down the field. And that's because R6 Cup, they're all feeling their way into this. There are something like 10 regulars from last year that are back in the championship, but the rest are complete newcomers. We've got a bigger grid than we had last year for the Yamaha R6 Cup. In other words, Rob has sold more subscriptions, so we say, as far as this championship's concerned. I think they've seen that it is of real value if you want to leg up into Superbike. You only got to look at Kieran Clark and, of course, last year's championship winner, Tommy Hill. They're in Superbike and acquitting themselves very, very well.
With top teams. Kieran Clark with the satellite team of Rob Max in the upper yard team, looking really good. And of course, Cal Crutchlow, who finished third in this championship and a race winner on a number of occasions last year, he's in the North Point Ekerro 600 team, riding a CBR 600 RR on Bridgestone tyres, so he's looking good as well. He's ended up with a good ride in the Supersport Championship. Point
probably worth making as well. Trackcraft, very, very crucial in motorcycle racing generally. You're not going to get much of a chance to set these motorcycles up differently, so not a lot to be learnt there. But trackcraft is all. They've got the likes of Rob McElnay looking after them. Believe me, he does look after them like an old hen. And the fact is, trackcraft is important. And I think Tommy Hill learned a lot last year. He made the best of all the rounds he could make the best of. He only won 2 races out of the series last year, compared with Cal Crutchlow's 4, but Crutchlow finished in second place in the championship. You've got to keep scoring the big points if you're going to do it. Oh, Bob Collins. Oh, no, it's not.
He's upside down.
Bob Collins is upside down.
Brian McFeely, that is.
Brian McFeely, and the first non-deliberate mistake from you.
Oh, it looks like Abby Hairpin.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of misjudgment there on Brian's
part. Mind you, you've got to say, with the conditions being as cold as they are, and as you already said, standard Dunlop road tyres, I'm amazed we don't see more of that in this championship racing.
Well, I remember at the beginning of last year, I was thinking these guys are really inexperienced, but of course they've all come from mini moto or motocross or other championships, so they have actually got a lot of race experience under their belt.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to rely on my leg quite as much as they do in mini motos, though. Not in this. Picking an R6 up on your right leg might be a bit more of a problem than a mini moto. 49, Russell Hodgson it is that still leads.
I don't like mini motos.
Neither do I.
Wreck your best trainers.
Well, the trouble is, at our age, you can't bend down that far. Hillier still in second place. James Hillier in second place. Still Bob Collins menacingly there in third, but still not close enough. And he's had plenty of chances to get on the shoulder of these two men. I reckon they've upped the game at the moment, because they really are closing right in. Now then, number 11, Jenkinson is still in fourth place at the minute. Keep an eye out for Adam Jenkinson from Manchester. Reckons he's fast, dedicated and confident. It's a bit like Miss World, isn't it? They've all given us a little crib sheet here with...
does a lot for charity.
How would you describe yourself? I'd love the world to be a more peaceful place. except during R6 Cup races.
And this is not peaceful.
No, never.
Top
This
7
is
within
war.
6 seconds here still.
Keep an eye on number 11. There he is. He's in 4th place, but he's not a slouch. He's closed right in. This is the man of the moment. Well, I'm amazed that I came to him, and he is. He is new to this championship, feeling his way every single way. Number 11 I'm talking about. He qualified in 4th place. Look at that style. He's a big lad.
He's closing.
He is. He looks scary straight away. So, new player, I think we can say, as far as the Virgin Mobile Yamaha R6 Cup is concerned. Adam Jenkinson.
I'm looking forward to seeing him dealing with Bob Collins.
Well, he's a landscape gardener. Let's hope he don't do any today. They're bad, aren't they? Alton Park, just 15 miles up the road from him. So you can expect that to be a good track as far as that young man, Adam Jenkinson's concerned.
He has got a nice style, but he's like Benji Cocker from last year.
Big lad.
Oh,
what a lunge that was from nowhere. And pulled it down as well. Good stuff. I'm impressed. He's my man already. Adam Jenkinson.
It's just as well in the same colour because they're swapping a bit of paint there.
Maybe this is the point where we say that Neil Mackenzie must choose a rider of the day this week as well. So we have 4 races to choose a rider of the day. Now, if Adam Jenkinson comes through again, wow, what is he on? Dear me. Adam Jenkinson, and we know they're all on the same tyres. We can't say, as we could do in race 1, which was the British Superbikes for us, of course, we can't say that there's any special tyres been chosen here, because they're all on the same kit, all on the same tyres. It's just down to the guy twisting the throttle. And at the moment, it's Adam Jenkinson, who's gone from 4th place to 2nd place. Oh, Bob Collins!
Well,
oh, how smart was that? Did you see Jenkinson jam the brake on then?
Yeah.
As Bob Collins came under them. Jenkinson jammed the brake on and missed that situation, I'm sure.
That was unfortunate. That was a bit of aggression on Bob Collins' part.
But I tell you,
2 guys are down.
Yeah. So that does make a bit of a mess of the situation out on the racetrack. I can tell you it's Hillier who's come out best there. James Hillier was out in front, obviously, and Bob Collins missed him, fortunately. Skittles at that little chicane then, a bridge too far. Really, Bob Collins, 11 still there. Adam Jenkinson that's benefited the most from that, although he'd already done a fair amount of work. I would say Adam Jenkinson is well on for winning this race now. He's managed to close right in.
Coming into final, Woodcote hairpin, the last right before the start finish, in through the Brooklyn section. Bob Collins way too hot there.
Well, I am so impressed that 11, Adam Jenkinson, managed to pull that away. Now, Adam Jenkinson, I said he's going to go in front, and he has gone in front now. He is the fastest man out on the racetrack. Incredible situation there, but 49 Russell Hodgson, I talked about the bad luck that he had last year to some extent, and he finds himself absolutely, well, Bob Collins skittled him, and that really wasn't Hodgson's fault. He'll be spitting tax over that, but it's Adam Jenkinson absolutely blasting away at the front here. He really is riding superbly well. A 20-year-old from Manchester, landscape gardener. Well, he was the 2002 British Mini Moto champ of all things, and the 2001 British Mini Moto champ as well, which might have been why he managed to pull that thing back. This is how Adam Jenkinson got into the lead. Let's take a look.
Into Abbey hairpin, looking at the outside, then the inside, and he gets in there
and he pulls it tight.
Pulls it down to the impact. Brilliant.
That's how he did it last time. He's going to do it again. Coming up on the back markers, of course, that can be a problem. Les Fletcher is coming into view. That's bike number 20 at the moment. Well, we've a new star in the Yamaha R6 Cup. Rusty's down on the deck. That's Rusty Hodgson, of course. It's actually caught him quite badly, hasn't it? Because it's hurt him a little bit. So that's our back marker about to be zapped there. Oh, as Adam Jenkinson, Neil Mackenzie looked away and I screeched then, and he nearly broke his neck turning back to the monitor to watch that. Adam Jenkinson on the brakes, backing it in. Sorry, Neil. You be careful, you get whiplash in here.
It's Lee Fletcher there, number 20, that they're coming up to lap.
Yeah. So, still Adam Jenkinson in control, but not if he plays that game too much. He's quick here at Abbey, and he really gets it down on that line.
You can just see how hungry James Hillier is, though. He's not letting them get away.
Well, this is the opening round, as I was about to say before we saw a bit of Jenkinson shenanigans. There it is, Jenkinson, Hillier, Lowry. Yeah, we should mention, actually. Excuse me, 17 Lowry. He qualified in 5th place. He and Lowry on the Image Tech Services. I did give him a quick mention earlier on in the race, but now he's up into 3rd place. That's a podium and great points as far as he's concerned. Victor Cox down in 7th. I wouldn't have expected that from a former winner, I think, last year. He might have, yeah, he did win a race last year at Brands Hatch. So Victor Cox out of the equation. He was more established. Well, maybe we have found some even more stars. Even more stars makes no good English, but there again, I'm from Essex, so I'll keep on that line, shall I? Jenkinson is a new star. How's that? Was that a little bit better? Jenkinson is a new star here in the R6 Cup. He's a big lad as well.
He's a big lad, but he can get hanging off that bike, and he can use his knees to use the third wheel. The infield section, the complex section, Adam Jenkinson seems to be quick, but through this section...
That's another winded rider down in the deck as well, and you'll forgive us, because it's quite tricky for us to recognise.
That's Niblet that's lying down there.
You're right, Michael Niblet, well...
And Peter Newell.
Michael Niblet finds 69. Himself in a little bit of trouble. Niblet is on bike 19, so he's winded a little bit at the moment, so Michael Niblet unceremoniously dumped in the sandpit. Just goes to show you, it doesn't matter who your connections are in MotoGP, at the end of the day, they ain't going to help you when it comes to a race. So, Niblet out while we look at the race at the front.
Oh, well.
We've got a lot of back markers that we're all getting tangled up with here, and it is Jenkinson, finding his front end being wiped clean.
That'll allow Hillier to get a bit closer.
Yeah, but will it be around him close enough up into the braking area? That's where it's all going to count at the end of the day. Adam Jenkinson then makes the pass perfectly there.
No, Hillier's getting held up.
Yeah, Hillier held up just a fraction there as well.
I'm surprised that they're lapping so many riders.
I think their times are quick. 1:37, 1:39 last time round. You know, these times are not slow. If you look at the Superbike times, just one race ago. Hillier, look at this little dust up here. 27 right in the thick of it as well. It's all a bit hectic out there. That's Andrew Skinner. He's been allowed into the series despite struggling with the qualification maximum that could have seen him out of the race. 11. Adam Jenkinson scything his way through the back markers here. Very tricky indeed with him, as is 37, James Hillier in second place. Then it's number 3, I can tell you, Conor Cummins, who is now in third place. He's looking for that podium. He only qualified in 12th place. So Conor Cummins is in front of Kyle Bryce on bike number 2. Victor Cox is on bike 28 and is in 5th place. And then we slip down the leaderboard to take a look at some of our other favourites. I think we'll stick with the top 6 as it is at the moment. 42 is Guy Sanders, who rounds out our top 6. He's on the ridenow.co.uk Yamaha.
Kyle Bryce, 4th at the moment. He's actually a lap record holder from last year on a 1:35.9, so about 2.5 down on last year's times.
Good times though, considering it is slippery and it is very, very cold out there. Track temperature, something like 12 degrees I was told this morning. That is cold still. Jenkinson, Hillier, Cummins, Bryce, Cox, Sanders, they are our top 6 on the leaderboard at the moment. We are on lap 14 of 15. John Boy Lee in 7th place. Ed Meads, Wren, one of our tips for the top. Pollock, Lowry and Bray. A lot of shoving and pushing going on now. Well, he hasn't got any time really to mess about with this. He's got to force his way through, because Adam Jenkinson will get caught by Hillier if he takes a bit of a casual way of passing some of the back markers. He's got to cut through them.
He's made good at that section. Yeah. Jenkinson got through there really well, and Hillier, that's paid the price.
Tim Capper then not doing anything wrong, but at that chicane there's only really one line through there, unless you know someone is right underneath you. He says, why didn't you let me through? Not happy there, I have to say. James Hillier perhaps a little harsh on Tim Capper. Tim Capper was in the middle of that chicane. It is tricky to spot flags. Obviously flags will have been waved to him, but at that particular section of the track, very difficult to watch that slow speed corner and take a look at the blue flags being waved.
It really all started back at Priory. Capper would be getting blue flags, but of course Jenkinson came past and he'd think, well, that's who I've got to let pass. I'll get back online and be safe. So really, really difficult.
So last lap time then, the star of today and our newcomer to the Virgin Mobile Yamaha R6 Cup is a new star of the future, I'm sure. Adam Jenkinson, 20 years old from Manchester, looking absolutely perfect, coming through. Well, from a lowly starting session in the first lap, he was 4th on the grid, but really he's had to work very, very hard indeed to come through the 4th, to avoid that accident at the chicane as well, when Bob Collins T-boned Russell Hodgson. And, well, there's been no comeback from Hillier. Hillier on 37 has just caught the back markers all at the wrong time. All that Jenkinson's got to do now is cruise, really, to the checkered flag.
Smart lad as well. He had a quick look round there, coming out of the Abbey hairpin, and he can see he's got a good advantage on Hillier, and he just needs to really ride round here, keep it safe, and get over the start-finish. But still a good start to season for Hillier. We know that you need to score points, you need to accumulate these points. Difficult conditions today.
So, coming to the end of the opening Virgin Mobile Yamaha R6 Cup race of the series this year. It is Adam Jenkinson who scores first blood, 25 points go to him. James Hillier in second place. And this is round one of the Yamaha R6 Cup, the Virgin Mobile Yamaha R6 Cup race. Adam Jenkinson came cutting through from a lowly starting position into that race win. It was a superb ride from the youngster there. James Hillier, he tried all he could, got caught up in the back markers and finished second. Conor Cummins, now he was the best of the lot, coming through to third place in the end. Carl Bryce, the current lap record holder, going into that race in fourth place. Guy Sanders fifth, Victor Cox sixth, John Boyley in seventh place, and James Edmeades scored points. And there they are, 25 to the winner from 20, 16, 13, 11, 10, 9, 8, going down to 1, of course, for all of the riders.